What just happened?
Did this weekend really just happen? Did I see what I saw?
Yes. Yes, you did.
Seriously, I mean, what happened this weekend? These award bodies delivered us a message with choosing their winners. I mean, and I want to talk about those messages, but I also want to talk about what did the winners in all of the categories for Critics' Choice tell us about the future of the Oscars? And did it impact any of your guys' predictions? Because I'm going to say it definitely impacted mine. I mean, these messages that the award bodies gave were a big middle finger to the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, i.e., the Oscars. And it also said to the film world, you know what? We're tired of thinking that films have to fit into a particular brand or a particular mold in order to be kind of Oscar worthy or award worthy. And I think they definitely delivered that message. All three of these bodies did. But I'm going to tell you, I didn't do great at picking all of my choices. I'd love to know how you guys did, so make sure you put them in the comments. I mean, I went 14 out of 19 for the Critics' Choice because I'm going to consider it a win, even though A Real Pain and Deadpool and Wolverine tied for Best Comedy. I'm going to give myself the win there, but man, I just did not see some of those coming. And then I made stupid choices. Directors Guild Association, I got 2 out of 3. Producers Guild, 3 out of 3. But honestly, don't ask me why I picked Anora to win Producers Guild and then said, oh, DGA, you're not going to honor Sean Baker. I mean, come on. Don't ask me what I was thinking. But then again, it's been the craziest award season that I can remember for how long. So, you know what, guys? Stick with me. Let's talk about these messages because the first one is all about challengers. And yes, we all know how much I love challengers, but I think that Critics' Choice told us by giving challengers 2 out of its 3 wins that, you know what, Oscars, you messed up. Actually, you f***ed up. I mean, let's be real. Critics' Choice and Golden Globes both gave challengers best score. That's saying that Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did an amazing job with the score, which they did. I mean, anybody who watches that movie will tell you they did phenomenal. Yet for some odd reason, the Oscars couldn't even put it on the short list. I'm proud of Critics' Choice and those voters saying, you know what, guys? This is a very good score. And they also gave it film editing, which it deserved. I mean, as we've said before, you're the racket, you're the ball. I mean, the point of view, the shots of it all, it's phenomenal. However, Challengers is not nominated in either one of those categories for the Oscars. So where does that leave us when it comes to those categories? For me, right now, I'd have to say score. I'm leaning towards Conclave, even though, I mean, wait and make sure you do like and subscribe and click the little bell for the notification because I am going to do like an entire Oscar predictions video with all of my kind of final choices as it gets closer to the Oscars. Because trust me, with this season and all the controversy and things that keep coming up, things could definitely change. I mean, we've got BAFTAs coming up, we've got SAG coming up, and God only knows what's going to happen when it comes to Amelia Perez and that whole controversy. The second message, and probably the one that jaw-dropped, shocked me the most.
The award goes to JonMChu Wicked.
Is this really happening to me?
How the hell did that happen?
Did that really just happen?
That just happened.
It did. JonMChu just won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Director. I mean, honest to God, I did not see that one coming. I mean, I know that Critics' Choice always has surprises in, you know, one of the top categories, but usually it's in one of the 4 acting categories. And, okay, yep, the one I did get wrong was I went against my Kieran Culkin sweep, and I thought Clarence Macklin from Sing Sing might be honored. I thought that might be the upset. I mean, no, the 4 acting categories, you know, pretty much went the way I thought they would, unfortunately for Grande. But, I mean, seriously, I did not see Chu coming anywhere close to winning Best Director for Critics' Choice. I mean, prior to that, the guy had only won National Board of Review and Astras. He wasn't nominated in the Golden Globes, PGA, DGA, BAFTA, SAG, nor did he get the Oscar nomination. And I mean, how funny was that when the presenter's like,
future winner of Best Director at the Oscars has first taken home the Critics' Choice Award for Best Director.
Was that not the funniest part? And she was like,
I'm gonna win that Oscar!
The guy wasn't wrong. Out of the last 15 years, 11 times the winner of the Critics' Choice Director has gone on to win the Oscar. And the last 8 years in a row, that has always happened. Like, Critics' Choice and the Oscars have never deviated. Way to go, JonMChu, breaking that streak, because we're definitely going to get something different come this year. And oh my gosh, was that not the loudest applause ever, like, for any winner that night? I mean, that Wicked table was going insane for JonMChu's win. They should, because you know what? The guy got snubbed for the Oscar, and here he wins this. When Critics' Choice even nominated him, I thought for sure there was no way he was going to win it, because if you think about all the other award bodies that had snubbed him, I was like, oh, they're judging Chu on all of his past movies, which is kind of what I thought would happen, so good for him. The sad part about his win, though, is what that means for Wicked winning Best Picture. And I know it's probably not going to happen, and I've kind of seen it coming for a while, but man, that was my prediction from like November 22nd on. I really thought Wicked could do it. The momentum, the amazingness of it, but you know what? It's probably going to befall the same curse that's going to happen to Ariana Grande, and that's the curse of the sequel. And so that's their justification for not nominating them or giving them the win. Because let's be real, Winnie Holtzman and Dana Fox did not get nominated in the Writing Adapted Screenplay Oscar category, which I kind of thought would happen. You know, I mean, we go from a book to a Broadway show to a movie, but we also didn't get the director nomination. And the last time any film won Best Picture at the Oscars and didn't get nominated in the directing and the writing category was back in 1932 for the film Grand Hotel. If by some chance Wicked wins, they will be breaking a 93-year-old record. I mean, that would be an amazing Oscar history to see. Unfortunately, I don't think Wicked is going to end up breaking that Oscar streak, especially considering what we saw happen with the last award of the night at Critics' Choice.
And the winner for Best Picture, it's Anora!
Holy cow, I didn't see that one coming. And I mean, I know some of you did, and good job for you guys that picked it, but man, that one also blew my mind, and in a great way, because you know what? Fabulous movie. I love Sean Baker's message, and for those of you who can't really see my shirt, yep, decriminalize sex work. Completely agree with Sean Baker in that regard. This actually is a shirt I've had for, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. It definitely gets some looks when I wear it out in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, let me tell you. But you know what, Anora, it deserved it, but a lot of people didn't see it happening because it didn't win any awards at the Golden Globes, right? So people like now look at Anora and they're like, oh, is this like the comeback film? Well, is it really a comeback, or did it never really go anywhere? Because let's be real, it was one award show. It was the Golden Globes. And let's be real, it did win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, but I'm not going to lie. After, Coralie Farjat for The Substance won Best Original Screenplay, which, by the way, so happy for The Substance. If you guys haven't watched it yet, I made like a little short video kind of talking about their 2 wins together and integrating their speeches. I'll link it up here so you can go and watch it. I was happy they won. I did predict that to be the winner, but that was a long shot because a lot of people had Anora winning. I mean, I've actually watched some videos where people are like, we don't even need to discuss that category. It's definitely going to Anora. So once Anora didn't win it, I was like, oh my gosh, they're going to get snubbed at the Critics' Choice Awards just like they did at the Golden Globes. And so, I kind of was like, all right, well, that sucks for them. Now what's going to happen with Anora? And then bam! They win Best Picture. After Anora's win on Friday night, of course, I had to go back to my stats and figure out, okay, what did this mean for Sean Baker and Anora? And it actually meant some pretty good things, because out of the last 15 years, 9 times the Critics' Choice winner of Best Picture has gone on to win the Oscars. So I was like, holy cow, Sean Baker, you have a chance. Then comes Saturday night. Sean Baker wins Directors Guild Association and Anora wins Producers Guild Association. And seriously, mind blowing. I'm like, WTF, what just happened? All I know is that statistically, their chances just skyrocketed. And let me tell you how good DGA is at picking Best Picture winner. I mean, I guess we talked about this in the nomination video, but I'll just reiterate it. Out of the last 11 years, the person that they have picked for DGA, their movie, 10 out of 11 times has gone on to win Best Picture at the Oscars. The only year it was different, yep, you know it because we talk about it all the time. It's the one year that still baffles everybody, and that was the year of 2020, which 2020 was a crazy year to begin with, but this all happened for movies that came out in 2019. But still, They chose Sam Mendes, 1917, and Best Picture went to, yep, that's right, Parasite. And I mean, even the year like 2013, when DGA went Ben Affleck and Argo ended up winning Best Picture at the Oscars, I mean, Ben Affleck couldn't win Best Director at the Oscars because he wasn't even nominated in that. So, okay, you've got Critics' Choice stats being 9 out of 15 times that person ends up winning Best Picture. Now you've got DGA, 10 out of 11 times that person's picture ends up winning. Now you move on to PGA, right? Producers Guild Association moved to preferential ballot, like we talked about, right? They're exactly similar to the Oscars. So that would mean then, in theory, they should be the closest to the Oscars. And there is definitely crossover voting bodies in Directors Guild and Producers Guild. There's no crossover between Critics' Choice and the Academy. They just happen to be really good at picking winners. Okay, since moving to preferential ballot, 80% of the time, the winner of the Producers Guild Association movie ends up winning Best Picture. They've gotten it wrong 3 times since they moved to preferential ballots, and that was in 2016. PGA went with The Big Short, and the winner for the Oscar was Spotlight. 2017, PGA went La La Land. The Academy went Moonlight after the whole debacle, but still. And then again, of course, in 2020, when it was 1917 for PGA versus Parasite for Best Pictures. Yep, this is really happening. After looking at those stats, I don't think that there's anything that can beat Anora for Best Picture. I mean, what do you guys think? Because I honestly don't see it. I see The Brutalist going out, and I see Anora coming right in the door and taking away that Oscar. To me, statistically proven, and I think that the message is getting out there, just like what Sean Baker said in his acceptance speech.
Independent film, we have to go for it. We have to go for it to stay on the big screen.
He's telling a fabulous story that needs to be heard, and I'm honestly going to do a review of Anora because I think it has to be discussed. And so again, make sure you like, subscribe, and click the bell for notification. I applaud these award bodies for stirring the pot in an already chaotic film award season. I mean, this is going to be fun. Because beyond the 3 messages that they delivered us this weekend, the Critics' Choice wins in their other categories did kind of solidify, but also make us think about where we're going to go when it comes to Oscar predictions. And I want to make sure that we talk about those. So let's just go through the categories quickly and kind of see what this weekend told us. In the documentary feature film category, I mean, I think the DGA win for Porcelain War just kind of solidified that that's the Oscar favorite. I mean, PGA and Critics' Choice Documentary Awards went to Superman, the Christopher Reeve story, which didn't even make the Oscar shortlist. So you know what? Obviously going to be different. I think that Porcelain War is where I'm heading there. Now, animated feature film, and I'm not just saying this, you guys, because I love Flow. I mean, we all know how I feel about Flow. But even though Critics' Choice and DGA both went with The Wild Robot, the Golden Globe did go to Flow, and The Wild Robot was the predicted favorite. And yes, I know what you're all thinking is that DGA and Critics' Choice tend to, and yes, it's like an 85% accuracy rate that they pick the right animated feature film to win the Oscar. But they did get it wrong last year. Yes, they did. They picked Spider-Verse and it went to Boy and the Heron. So could that happen this year with Flow? It could. I still don't know for sure that I'm picking Flow for my Oscar win. I know that's going to break my little heart and my poor cat Dak's little heart if I don't pick Flow. Right now, if we look at these 2 animated films and we look at all of their like festival wins, not counting international feature film score wins, just looking at animated feature film wins, Flow is currently at 21 and The Wild Robot is at 32. Now that might seem like, oh my gosh, Wild Robot is running away with it, but let's be honest. I mean, Flow is a Latvian animated film that has no human voices. It's all animal sounds. So the fact that it's won 21 times, we kind of cannot take that for granted. And the fact that now this animated film has also been nominated for Best International Feature Film at the Oscars, I mean, we can't ignore what Flow is going to do. And I never want to ignore Flow because, again, get your pet spayed and neutered. We do it for Flow to control the animal population, y'all. So still don't know who I'm going to pick there, but again, now this win and the DGA win for Wild Robot just makes it an even more confusing sort of category. The acting categories went the exact way that everybody thought they would go. I mean, I only went Clarence Macklin because I thought that's where the upset would be. I mean, I knew Kieran Culkin was going to sweep it, all of the awards, and he's going to now. I mean, this just confirms it. Same thing with Adrian Brody. I mean, I don't think Timothée Chalamet has a chance anywhere, not even at Screen Actors Guild. And Demi Moore, yep, Moore wins the Oscar. I mean, I've been saying that for a very long time, but I've also been saying #Grande Oscar win. And I still believe that, but I think she's going to be so pigeonholed by this whole sequel thing. I mean, the fact that I hear other YouTubers saying, oh, well, they'll just give her the win for the whole entire series of the movie. That's not how this is supposed to work, people. It just annoys me. It seriously frustrates me beyond, but whatever. And I think that Zoe Saldana might end up benefiting from the Amelia Perez controversy. And the only reason I say that, gang, is because will people now vote for her who maybe wouldn't have because they're like, well, if we don't vote for her, do people think that we're holding the Carla Sofia Gascon and all the crazy Amelia Perez controversy against her when really, yeah, she did do good in the movie. Maybe she's not, the best, but we'll give it to her. I mean, I don't know. At one point, I thought maybe the controversy could hurt her. And so then people would automatically go to Grande. But now as you read more and more throughout the news, and we've got BAFTA still coming up and SAG, I think people are going to be like, well, you know what? We are mad at Amelia Perez. We don't think any of the controversy, even for the Gascon tweets, were great. And it's definitely not in the contention anymore for Best Picture. But you know what? We probably should honor it somewhere because it is a decent movie. And so we'll give it to Saldana and then we'll just give Grande the win after Wicked Part 2, which I still think is crap. And so to me, I think that's probably what the Oscars are going to do. I mean, granted that all of the Critics' Choice voting happened before all of the controversy, so maybe we'll see something different come BAFTA and SAG. I don't really think so, but not only did Critics' Choice award Zoe Saldana from Amelia Perez with the win, they also gave El Mal Best Song, which again, all the votes were pre-controversy, but I don't think that the controversy is going to hurt the song category either. I think the Oscar for Song will end up going to El Mal over Diane Warren in her 16th nomination for The Journey from the movie The 688. The song is good. The movie is good. Yet, unfortunately, it's going to end up losing to El Mal, which, like I've kind of called, El Mal is going to sweep the song category at every award show. And for score, people are lucky that Challengers isn't in there because, honestly, I think it would have won. I think that's what Golden Globes, Critics' Choice are trying to tell us. But you know what? It's not in for the BAFTAs. It's not in for the Oscars. So where does that leave me for score? Right now, I would say I'm probably leaning Conclave. Visual effects. Okay, Critics' Choice, you gave it to Dune Part 2. You also gave it to Dune Part 1. The Oscars gave it to Dune Part 1. I think that Dune Part 2 is kind of the shoe-in when it comes to visual effects at the Oscars. Critics' Choice did give Wicked both costume design for Paul Tazwell and production design for Nathan Crowley. Crowley's first Oscar win, and I still think that that's exactly what's going to happen at the Oscars. So the Critics' Choice wins for costume design and production design just make me feel better about my Oscar choices because with my ADHD, and for those of you who have ADHD, you might know this, I struggle with executive function, which means making decisions. So when I make decisions, I need something to kind of confirm that, like somebody to tell me, yes, Lisa, it's okay for you to choose that. So by Critics' Choice giving these two wins to Wicked, I now feel better about my choices. The next category, International Feature Film, I think is where the controversy of Amelia Perez is going to hurt it the most. I mean, besides the fact that the controversy has pretty much killed it for its Best Picture win. I mean, rest in peace, dead. You are not getting Best Picture. But I also don't think it's getting Best International Feature Film now. And that was the favorite by 95% of people were picking Amelia Perez to an international feature film, even though all of the accolades and the critical acclaim for true best international film was All We Imagine Is Light. Well, All We Imagine Is Light isn't eligible in the Oscars because India fucked up. It's now against I'm Still Here. I'm Still Here is also up for Best Picture, and we know it's not going to win Best Picture. However, with 20% of the Academy voters being from overseas and the Amelia Perez controversy, I think I'm Still Here ends up taking international feature film. Makeup and hairstyling, I mean, to me, this is a no-brainer, duh category. I called it for the substance, it went for the substance, and I think the Oscar is also going to go for the substance. How do you compete with the substance? The entire last third of that movie is just like, here you go, makeup and hairstyling, really makeup, but here you go, let's just give you the Oscar right here and now. I mean, crazy. When they gave the cinematography win to Nosferatu, I was so happy because I was one of the 5% of people on the Awards Expert app that actually picked this film to win cinematography. And I think by it now winning Critics' Choice Cinematography, Academy members are starting to look at that film through kind of a different lens, and they're saying, maybe when we're looking at all of its nominations for tech categories, maybe we should really consider it for cinematography. I mean, BAFTA definitely appreciated Nosferatu, especially in the tech categories. I mean, they were longlisted 5 times at the BAFTAs, and they got all 5 of those nominations. So, you know what? Be on the lookout for it, gang. For those of you who didn't pick Nosferatu in cinematography, who did you pick? And does this Critics' Choice win change your choice when it comes to the Oscars? I'd love to know. Put it in comments and we'll start a conversation about it, because to me, this is a category that really surprised a lot of people. I mean, obviously, only 5% of people picked it to win, so that's kind of crazy. Film editing, I am torn because Challengers obviously got snubbed at the Oscars, so it's not even eligible. And that leaves me with kind of, you got Wicked out there with Meyer and Kirsten doing a fabulous job, right? You've got The Brutalist. You also have Anora. However, Sean Baker, the director, also did the editing. A lot of the time, when directors are also nominated for editing their own films, they're not going to give that win to a person both in director and in film editing, because they're kind of like, well, you know what? We'll recognize your film either with Best Director or Best Picture, but let's give film editing to somebody else or a different film. I mean, it has happened 2 times, and that was in 1998 when James Cameron won both Best Director and film editing for Titanic, which also ended up winning Best Film. Then in 2014, Alfonso Cuarón won Best Director and Film Editing for Gravity. However, Gravity did not win Best Picture. That year it went to 12 Years a Slave. So if Sean Baker and Anora can end up winning Film Editing, Director, and Best Picture, they'll be in the same company as Titanic and James Cameron. It could happen. However, I don't know right now, so I'm not ready to even kind of make a preliminary choice in that. I mean, I've narrowed it down to 3 out of 5. That counts for something, right? Then based on statistics, I of course have to go Sean Baker Director, Anora Best Picture. The next 2 categories, Writing Adapted Screenplay and Writing Original Screenplay. To me, Adapted Screenplay is a no-brainer, right? It's going to go Peter Strawn for Conclave. He won the Golden Globe, and that was when all of the screenplays were combined, so his adapted screenplay beat out original screenplays. He just won the Critics' Choice Awards, and I mean, in the Oscars, he's up against Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, Amelia Perez, and A Complete Unknown. So he's got that one on lockdown. We might think that the Writers Guild Association Awards would help us figure out these screenplay categories, but it's not, because Conclave wasn't even eligible, so it's not in the running for WGA. The hardest category for me to predict when it comes down to the Oscars now is Writing Original Screenplay. And it might be a little easier now that I think people are maybe going towards Sean Baker and Anora winning director and picture. So maybe they'll be like, you know what, Sean Baker, you got enough stuff. Like, let's just stick with who won the Critics' Choice Award and give it to Coralie Farjat for The Substance. They were a long shot. I mean, when you look at all of the statistics and the predictions out there, Anora was expected to win. And so, like I said, when they didn't win, I honestly thought they were going to get snubbed. To me, it's coming down to either Anora or The Substance in this category. I mean, their other competition is The Brutalist, September 5, and A Real Pain. I just think those 3 are out of it, and it's going to come down to Anora and The Substance. And I think if voters vote the way the statistics say, they give Sean Baker the win for Best Picture, Best Director, and then they're like, you know what, you don't need to win everything, duder. Let's go ahead and give it to Coralie Farjat for The Substance, because, I mean, let's be real. Could you get a more original screenplay than The Substance? I mean, not to deny what Sean Baker did with Anora, because that is a very original, very unique, awesome screenplay, but come on, The Substance, let's just do it. Let's give Coralie that win for the Oscar. And again, WGA is not going to help us here because The Substance isn't eligible. Anora is eligible at the WGA, so of course Anora is going to win that. There it is, gang. My reactions to the Critics' Choice, the Directors Guild Association, and the Producers Guild Association, along with what kind of impact I think it's going to have on the Oscars. I mean, I know what kind of impact it's going to have on my predictions. What kind of impact is it going to have on your guys' predictions? Let me know. Put it in comments. Let's all talk about it. I mean, it was a crazy, wild ride this weekend with some unexpected wins, not only in the film community, but also Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. Who saw that one coming? Definitely not the gamblers in Vegas. But you know what, gang? Let's see where we're going to be at the film community. We are T-minus 20 days between now and the Oscars, and we got a few major award shows between then and now. What kind of impact are those going to have? I don't know, but I'm definitely here to talk about it. All of the films, all the categories through my Oscar-obsessed ADHD point of view. Thanks for joining, and until next time.